Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. Here's your fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. President Biden's new infrastructure package already sets up an influx of funds for critical projects. This means millions of Americans could receive more financial assistance very soon. This Friday, everyone, I will be giving away more $75 Amazon gift cards. You can enter my giveaway by subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and also leaving a comment below. Thank you so much, everyone. Demand for a fourth stimulus payment continues to grow. We have more lawmakers and Americans that are throwing their support behind a plan to provide every adult in the United States with an immediate $2,000 payment, followed by regular checks for as long as this crisis endures. Multiple Democrats in Congress back similar proposals to assist people who are still struggling to pay for rent, buy food, and reduce their debt. Lawmakers who want more stimulus checks see an opportunity to add them to an upcoming spending bill, which could mean at least one more payment this year. There is likely to be intense pushback against any plan that includes new checks, particularly because millions of families are about to receive $1,500 or more in additional stimulus money through the end of 2021. There are millions of Americans who are eager for a fourth stimulus check. There are over 3 million people who have signed an online petition calling for more relief. The goal of 4 million signatures comes closer each week for the petition, which asks Congress for a $2,000 payment for adults and a $1,000 payment for kids immediately, and continuing regular checks for the duration of this crisis. There are more than 20 Democratic senators that have signed a letter to President Joe Biden, and most recently, 7 members of the influential House Ways and Means Committee wrote a letter to urge President Biden to include direct payments in his proposed $1.8 trillion American Families Plan, which he unveiled in late April.
Go ahead.
Jen, over the weekend, House Whip James Clyburn, an ally of the president's, called for a filibuster exemption on voting rights as a potential pathway forward for the Senate to pass that legislation. Does the president agree?
Well, first, I would say that Congressman Clyburn is a good friend of the president and certainly of the administration, an important partner as we work to get our agenda moving forward. I will say, though, in terms of how this works, the filibuster is a legislative process tool, an important one that warrants debate, but determination about making changes will be made by members of the Senate, not by this president or any president, frankly, moving forward. And it requires every single Democrat supporting changes. Now, I'm not here to provide a whip count for all of you, but that's not where support currently stands. So the president's view continues to be aligned with what he has said in the past, which that he has not supported the elimination of the filibuster because it has been used as often the other way around. I understand you're asking me about an exemption. We don't have any new position on that either. I would note that there are a lot of issues out there, and I think activists and advocates will tell you this, where you could argue that there should be an exemption. And this is certainly one of them. But that is what a lot of advocates, there are advocates for a range of issues, whether it's gun rights, climate, who are out there advocating for this. So he's talked about his support for returning to the talking filibuster. He continues to support that. But he, again, believes that as somebody who was in the Senate for 36 years, we need to continue to work to find a path forward to do hard things, even when they seem challenging. And that's what he will do in this case.
With no pathway really forward, the legislation languishing, is there a plan B? Is he rallying, as he is tomorrow, public support to hopefully change the complexion of the Senate and then try and pass the legislation? It just seems like there's no kind of obvious path forward for legislation that he says that he wants to pass if he's not going to change the filibuster rules or advocate for that.
Well, I think, if you look at even the Supreme Court ruling just a few weeks ago, his view is that, and he'll talk about this tomorrow, is that sends the focus back to Congress. And we don't accept the notion, he's an optimist by nature, otherwise he wouldn't be sitting in the Oval Office right now, that it's dead. We don't accept that. We believe there needs to be a path forward. He's going to ask the Vice President to help play an important role in determining what that looks like. And we're going to continue to advocate, to fight for moving forward on voting rights legislation. And he'll certainly elevate the need for the American people to be engaged in that effort moving forward.
The Ways and Means members said that last $1,400 check was not enough to get households through the year. The signers argued that a fourth and fifth stimulus check could keep an additional 12 million Americans out of poverty. The American Families Plan includes new funding for childcare, education, and healthcare. President Biden has signaled he would be willing to try to push it through Congress, using a process called budget reconciliation that would allow passage with only support from Democrats. The same fast-tracking was used in March to pass the last stimulus check and the rest of Biden's stimulus relief package, which faced universal opposition from Republicans. Pulling out the maneuver again for the families legislation might allow at least one additional relief payments to be tossed into the bill. When it comes to fixing the nation's crumbling roads and sewers, all eyes are on a $579 billion bipartisan framework brokered by the White House. Like most things in Washington, the path forward for that spending bill is riddled with political roadblocks. The good news for manufacturers, though, is that the U.S. has actually already signed off on a potentially meaningful influx of fresh infrastructure spending through the latest $1.9 trillion stimulus relief program. The American Rescue Plan is better known for its $1,400 stimulus checks and the extension of the enhanced unemployment benefits. But the package also includes $123 billion in K-12 education-related spending and $350 billion in state and local aid, among other things. The first priority for this money is fighting the virus and its myriad effects on the economy, but infrastructure-related expenditures, such as air conditioning upgrades and investments in improving the quality of drinking water, are also among the acceptable uses for those two buckets of funds. Because the total appropriations are so large, even a partial contribution to water and education facility projects could translate into extra infrastructure spending. State and local governments can use their share of the federal aid to provide assistance to households or industries hard hit by this crisis. They can also offer premium pay to essential workers and plug revenue holes in their budgets that can be traced to this crisis. Within the education portion of available funds, at least $800 million is dedicated to assistance for homeless children. Then the local education agencies that receive the bulk of the remaining funds must spend at least 20% of their grant amounts on programs meant to address the effects of potential learning loss after students were forced to take classes online during the crisis. But after that, they can allocate funds to a list of approved spending options, including facility repairs and upgrades to mitigate the risk of transmission. Now, recent surveys show that most people have spent their most recent third stimulus check on basic needs, such as food, rent, mortgage payments, and utilities. Others bought non-essential but necessary goods like clothing and possibly affordable life insurance. Demand for those policies has soared during this crisis. Democrats have also been calling for stimulus payments that would last the entirety of the crisis since before the last stimulus relief bill was passed in March. Please, everyone, comment below if you think a fourth round of stimulus checks should be included in the next spending bill. That is the end of the video, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember that this coming Friday, I will be giving away more $75 Amazon gift cards. Please enter my giveaway by subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and also leaving a comment below. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a very blessed Monday.